Pete Gluzak, Bass University. I'm going to dive into what I think is the most powerful springtime bait that there is. This is the Jackhammer ChatterBait. Of course, that's how it all got started. This tool is such a powerful force when fish are pre-spawn. They're starting to take those spawning flats. If you have emergent vegetation, man, there's not a better tool out there. But no matter the habitat, rocks, wood, this bait will trigger strikes. It'll trigger strikes from those big pre-spawn bass that we all love to catch with the big full bellies. And I'm going to tell you some of the baits that I like to use and some of the little sneaky things that I like to use. But this is B-Hite's Bluegill chatterbait. I think it's called Hite's Gill, and it's got a little bit of orange flash. And I've married that to a Zako trailer, a Yamamoto Zako with also an orange belly. So this is, and it has a gold blade, which is really a great tool whenever you're trying to represent a bluegill, which is, they're everywhere in the pre-spawn, or yellow perch. A lot of our bodies of water have those fish around in that early season, cool water. And they have a lot of orange on them. So this is a great tool to replicate that kind of bait fish. And while we're talking about colors, let me talk about the colors I like to use, and I keep it really simple. I love a black, and here I have one that's rigged. Here's a black and blue. This is a Jackhammer as well. And I team this up with a black Zako with blue fleck. And this bait is very, very visible when I have off-colored water situations, when I'm trying to help that fish find that bait. Man, this bait is terrific. It's got a black blade. This one has been used. I pretty much wore a lot of the color off of this blade. But that matte black finish on the blade is fantastic, and that black coloration is a very, very visible bait. So I have those two colors, bright orange. I have a very dark coloration, low light conditions, darker color water. That's what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to have more of a shad pattern that I'm going to use. And this is one of the tools that I really like. This is a Crosseyez Z-Man ChatterBait. This comes with a weed guard. Anybody that's ever attempted to fish a jackhammer around a blowdown tree, a dock, you know what I'm talking about. This bait's going to roll and it's going to hang around that wood. It's fantastic around grass, rocks, but around wood, you got to really be accurate and finessey to get this through. Well, guess what? The Crosseyez got a weed guard, and you can crawl this bait right over the wood, right through the gnarliest brush pile that there is, where a lot of fish will never see a jackhammer or chatterbait. They'll never see them. But this bait is going to get in there, and it's going to help you trigger those strikes. So, but this is a shad. I brought this out because it's a shad coloration. A lot of times, you know, a lot of our fisheries, they have shad, you know, they're dominant shad. So I'm going to want to have that. We have a lot of herring in our lake systems, and we see them real prevalent up in the shallows in the early season. So I'm definitely, when I see those around, I'm definitely going to want to have something with a silvery flash, something with a white, or even like a pearl translucent kind of look. If it's real clear water, real bright and sunny, I'll knock it down to more of translucent colors, matching these up. But once again, I'm going with the Zako trailer, and the weights on these are so important to me. They make them up to 1.5 ounces, but when I'm in the springtime, I'm typically fishing in the shallows, and I'm cycling back and forth between two weights, 3/8 and 1/2 ounce. And the reason for that is, when you're in the real shallow and cool water, the 3/8 really gives you a benefit to be able to reel that bait slow, tight to the habitat, trigger those strikes that can be somewhat difficult, especially if you're using a 1/2 ounce in the same scenario. You have to bully it and work it a lot faster through that real shallow habitat. So I really like a 3/8 this time of year. When I get into a little deeper water, that emergent grass growth down there around 4 or 5 feet, that ½ ounce is definitely the way to go. So I cycle back and forth between 3/8 and ½ and I'm typically throwing it on fluorocarbon, gamma fluorocarbon, a 16-pound gamma fluorocarbon. It is an amazing tool to work these baits through the various types of habitat. You get a lot of vibration out of the bait. You can get good depth control, allowing that bait to get down by going to 16 over 20. I don't typically go below 16, but I have this one rigged up. This is really cool. This is a cash and rod, but I have it rigged on Braid, right? So I have actually 50-pound Braid with the 16-pound fluorocarbon leader on it. And this is kind of a unique scenario setup that I use a lot of times in the spring when I'm fishing these baits. Now, I typically will go fluorocarbon direct, right, in most situations. But when am I going to go to Braid? I love going to Braid when the bite is a little lethargic, and especially as we get later, where the grass gets a little thicker, a little denser. What this Braid, this magic Braid, does for you is it allows you to pop that bait through the habitat without moving at a great distance. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you get hung up in that habitat with straight fluorocarbon, and especially a lot of the chatterbait rods have even a softer action. But so what you really have to lean into that bait to get it to pop through the habitat, and you can move that bait out of the fish's strike zone a lot of times. With the Braid, with a simple snap of the wrist, you can pop that bait right through the habitat, keep it right in that fish's face for just a moment longer. So it's a sneaky little deal that I love to use. Now, this is a multi-purpose element cash and rod that I'm using for this, which has a light action and a lighter action. It's a medium heavy, and it allows me to get a little bit of delay, so I'm not pulling it away from that fish. But with the Braid and this action rod, with a little pop of the wrist, I can fish this through the habitat, keep that bait right in the strike zone. One of the other things I want to point out, and I do this, I'm one of the guys that keeps a file around, but with these baits in the springtime, before the grass gets up, I'm fishing them around rocks a lot of times. So I'm going to dull the point, got to stay on top of that. You're going to get, this will hang up in those rocks. You got to pop it off, typically comes right off, but you can impact the point. So you're going to want to have a hook file in your boat to be able to touch that point up and keep fishing with this bait. So those are some of my key tips. I want to invite you guys. We're going to link you to some of the B-Hite, right? The designer of the Jackhammer, gives, one of the best seminars on how to fish this bait. He was in the forefront, not only creating it, but winning major tournaments with it. I want to invite you to go check that out on Bass University. And we're linking to all these baits that I just talked about. And these are the tools. These are the tools that are on the deck of my boat every single spring, because they're not only able to generate strikes in difficult conditions, but man, they can get the strikes from the really, really big fish that we all love to catch, those big pre-spawners. So go check it out. Some sneaky stuff. A lot of guys aren't throwing this. This is a killer, guys. You need to have that in your arsenal for when you get around the wood. Go check all this stuff out. I hope you guys have a great pre-spawn fishing season. Enjoy. I'm Pete Gluzak for Bass University.